guys. Absolute value. Very, very simple. I know I keep saying it's everything simple, but what can I say? You have the best teacher in the world. Look at me. Okay. Absolute value is like saying you can either put dirty clothes or clean clothes in the washer. But ding, an hour later, it's always going to come out clean no matter what. Am I right? So absolute value is always the same thing. Absolute value will always be positive. Now there is an exception when we come to this one right here. I'll show you guys that in a second. But since absolute value will always be positive, and absolute value will always be the same number. So if it's always the same number and it's always going to be positive, what is the answer going to be? It's just going to be 5. Now, remember how I said absolute value is always positive? This, the negative sign right there, it doesn't matter. Absolute value can never be negative unless when we come down to this problem right here, I will show you. So, since absolute value is always going to be the same number and will always be positive, it's just 3. Now, this is the one where I said there's an exception. Absolute value can never be negative unless there's a negative sign out front of the absolute value bars. Now, if there's a negative sign before the absolute value bars, the answer will be negative. That's the only time it's negative. Now, since it's always going to be negative, might as well write the negative sign. And since I always said absolute value will always be the same, it's just going to be negative 2. Now, same thing goes for this one right here. Or not the same thing, but same thing goes for what I did to this one. Or what I did to this one, same thing goes for down here. So, it's just going to be, since it has a negative sign, don't care about the negative sign because it's not in front of the absolute value bars. So, it doesn't matter. The negative sign doesn't matter. And absolute value will always be the same as the same number that's in the absolute value bars. So, the answer to that one is 8. Absolute value is very, 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 very simple. It's so easy that like you don't even need to do math, really. You don't need math for this one. You really don't. It's just so simple. Like I don't know how much more simple this can get. So, yeah, I don't know how much more simple it could get. But I just taught you guys how to solve absolute value, and that's it. Thank you.